This story begins with the ending. Hidden in the corner, shown here, is a tank mixer. They go in drinking water storage tanks. The note at the top reads, needs rebuilt as of 3/18/2019. It should read, does not need to be rebuilt. This mixer, and I'm guessing it's about a half a horsepower or less, let's call it a pony, was hung in the bulk water storage tank. Let's go over there and take a look at it quickly, the tank that is. The mixer was hung in the Montoursville Borough bulk water storage tank for bulk water customers. And that's our state-of-the-art self-service station. Let's take a look inside and see where the electric panel is for the mixer. Here is the electric panel, and the breaker schedule under number 11 shows mixer, and in the panel the number 11 breaker is in the off position. What I'm trying to convey to you here is that half horsepower mixer, let's call it a pony, feeds on electricity. And the mixer was specified for the tank. And that pony eats electricity 24/7, 365. The mixer was never economically justified for the project. It should have not been spec'd out. It should have not been installed. And we should have not spent any money on feeding that pony. We should have not spent any money on electricity for that mixer. Eventually, the mixer was removed, and as you saw in the beginning of the story, it's hidden in the corner with the note on it saying that it needs to be rebuilt, but it doesn't need to be rebuilt. Our current project, our current $1 million SCADA improvement project, calls for the installation of mixers in our bulk water storage tanks, our finished water storage tanks off of Fairview Drive. Let's take a look at the specifications for that in the engineering drawings. And you see where we're headed with these mixers. We're going to spend a lot of money speccing them out, purchasing them, running electricity to the tanks to power them. We're going to hook these mixers up to the SCADA, and we're going to run them 24/7, 365. The only difference is we're feeding 7 horses instead of a pony. So we're going to have high operating costs. And one little item about overtime. This number 11 breaker would trip routinely. We never determined the cause other than we have an electric wire dangling in a water storage tank situation. This resulted in operators having to come in and reset this breaker, and that occurred after regular working hours, weekends, holidays, etc. Let's go look and see what the specifications are for the new SCADA system improvement project. We're going to look at the engineering drawings next. which show that we're installing and we're going to have to feed 7 horses, which is not economically justified. In other words, the plan as it is right now is to install 2 3.5 horsepower mixers, one in each of the tanks located off of Fairview Drive. So 3.5 and 3.5 is 7 horsepower. So we'll be feeding 7 horses, 24/7, 365. The plan is to run wire, 1,000 foot of wire, okay, to the tanks, pay someone to do it, purchase, install the mixers, and then hook the mixers up to the SCADA so that we can see if they're running. And again, I'm being repetitive. Eventually, the mixers are going to end up in the corner of the garage with the note on it saying that it was a total waste of time and money. These are the Montoursville Borough Waterworks Mechanical Electrical System Improvements contract number MB-2 for the Montoursville Borough. Bring your attention, these are 2 reservoirs. We need to run about 1,000 feet of electric wire to power mixers, and the mixers are shown here. The wire goes from the top of the tank to the mixer. There's 2 tanks, 2 mixers, each 3.5 horsepower, so 7 horsepower total. Also shown here is some plumbing work that's being done in the pit, and this pertains to both reservoirs. I could do the same thing. I could accomplish the same task of all of this plumbing, tearing things out and putting things in, by opening one altitude valve, and I could do that yesterday. That's how quick that could be done. So the plumbing work's unnecessary, and the mixers are unnecessary. And let me talk about the cost of these mixers. They had to be spec'd out. They need to be purchased, installed, and eventually replaced. You need to run wire, and we'll show the 1,000 foot of wire here quickly. Here we go from our existing pressure building. Shown here, I drew a path for the wire roughly from the engineering drawings, and I'm a little over 1,000 feet of wire shown in the little box right here. Okay, so the mixers will then be hooked up to the SCADA, okay, with an alarming function to let you know if they're working or not. Here's a blow up of the plumbing. All of this plumbing work is totally unnecessary. All I have to do is open up one valve. And once it's hooked up to the SCADA, the mixers from reservoir 2 and 3 will go to the central SCADA, and the Lacombe County Emergency Management will be able to see if the mixers are running, and so will the police. Now, oops, straighten that out. Let's go over the economics and the whole situation again. They got to be spec'd out. The mixers got to be purchased, installed, and eventually replaced. They have to be wired. They're going to run 7 horsepower, 7 horses, 24/7, 365. That's going to cost about $1,000 per year per mixer. So over 10 years, that's a $20,000 bill. We're going to hook them up to the SCADA, so the EMS and the police can see them. So the whole situation with the installation of the mixers is not economically justified. It's not even close. I would approximate that the cost of installing the mixers is going to be in the tens of thousands of dollars, including running the electric wire, hooking up the electricity. And we're dealing with a contractor that's inexperienced in this situation. So it's not a good situation for the Montoursville Borough and the Montoursville Borough residents. And again, the policy of Montoursville Borough is only economically justified projects. Okay, we don't do projects that would be nice to have if they're not economically justified. So that's the policy, and that's why I'm bringing this situation to your attention. I could see where we're going. We've been there before. Let's not make the same mistake twice. We can do a great legacy project, a 100-year project, and even if we do this project, okay, nothing's going in this project's going to last 100 years. We have a legacy project on our capital improvement program. That's a tank at the right size and elevation. It'll be beautiful. It will automate the system through gravity. And that, what I've just said, is worth a lot of money. It's a high value to the Montoursville Borough residents. It's an economically justified project that will last generations. Again, nothing that we're doing with these mechanical improvements in SCADA is going to last very long. It will not outlast my lifetime or your lifetime, these improvements that we're considering, but the tank will.